centuries ago, famed mathematician Katherine Johnson wrote, "The whole idea of going into space was new and daring. There were no textbooks, so we had to write them." Now, the United Federation of Planets stands on a new brink of exploration and learning, yet again pushing beyond the bounds of contemporary understanding, and for a new dawn proclaim proudly once again, these are the Voyages of.
Captain's Log. While Ambassador Cooper and I conduct yet another First Contact mission, I have dispatched First Officer Hulata, Chief Engineer Anya, Ops Manager Garahar, Science Officer Charles Shi, and Lieutenant Fraproche to investigate some faint sensor readings that could potentially reveal Federation activity and may even connect to an old mystery.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Voyages of here on Rook and Rasp. We will be following the story of the USS Serenitis as it continues its mission to explore the Gamma Quadrant. We're using the Star Trek Adventures RPG rules from Modiphius, and as a reminder, we are no way affiliated with Modiphius. We just really enjoy their game. I'm Matt, and I'll be running the game tonight. Joining me is Amber as Commander Halata, Jen Brazos as Commander Anbara Anya, and John Kennedy playing Lieutenant Commander Charlie.
Hello.
And normally we have a fourth person, but through acts of work, lame work, things that we have to do to pay bills, yeah, we're down to 3 tonight, but that's okay because they're the 3 cool people. That's what I'm gonna go with.
What Matt doesn't want to say is we actually killed an Atom, so...
Yes. Oh, hey, Amir Nugget is back, and I'm really glad you're here, Amir Nugget. Thank you for coming back. We enjoyed you being in the chat last night, so thanks for everybody for coming out. Yeah, so, you guys are on one of the shuttles. You're not even on a runabout.
Runabout?
Man, Carmel has ruined it for me. I'm just, as a warning to everyone, if you've never been to Carmel, Indiana, and you don't like roundabouts, don't go to Carmel, Indiana.
You will learn to drive them.
Mm-hmm.
Because you must.
So the 3 of you, as well as Commander Garahar and Lieutenant Fraproche, are on this shuttle. So it's a little tight. The Serenitis is acting in its diplomacy role right now, and couldn't really send the ship out to investigate what were very, very faint Federation signals. So we're going to start off by asking everybody where they're kind of sitting, because we need a pilot and we need a operations officer, which should be someone with high science, because that's scanning stuff.
Sure,
If only we brought someone who literally their job title is science something. If only we brought them.
It would have been very wise of us, right?
Well, Minkler couldn't make it, so...
I've been replaced by Minkler.
No, you have not.
So, Charlie, why don't you give me a reason science roll to give me a basic scan. Its difficulty is going to be actually a 2. You're picking up some weird background energies.
Only one success.
Okay. I don't think we have any rerolls yet, but you never know how that's going to go.
Can I assist?
You definitely can. So it would be reason and science.
Okay. Just 1 dice, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nope.
No.
Cool. We're doing great so far, guys.
Mhm.
As a
We're
reminder,
just-
because I didn't cover this yet, you got Cthulhu's there down at the bottom. If you wanted to use those and help out, you can buy some momentum, which helps the players. You can buy some threat, which helps me. Or you can buy rerolls, because that is kind of important, I guess. Looks like John has bought let's say 1 momentum and 1 threat, so that's going to put us to 9 threat, 5 momentum, but no rerolls for you guys. That's fine. So as you're scanning, what Charlie, kind of what you and Anbara pick up is that the background energy that you're getting is some tachyon emissions, along with some like high level subspace energy that's really kind of messing with the sensors. It's in a different configuration than you normally see. Knowing tachyons as you do, that could mean that the what do you call that? The signal that you're getting could be distorted through time, possibly, but there's not enough tachyon emissions really to suggest that it would be very strong.
So, in other words, I don't need to recommend any kind of protective measures.
Not at this point, no. You have a basic idea of what direction to go, but you can't pick up any more information on the transmission itself.
Charlie's going to look a little frustrated when he's looking at the console, and he's doing the, not furious, but kind of like the focus tapping that you see in Star Trek. There's a lot of background radiation, which seems to be throwing off my sensors, and I'm detecting a higher than normal flux of tachyon particles in the vicinity. It doesn't look like we're in danger yet, but it's something we need to keep an eye on.
And kind of right at that point where he says we're not in danger yet, Halada, can I get you to give me a command con roll? Difficulty's going to be a 3. I think you have small craft, don't you?
Yep.
Yeah, so small craft will apply.
I'm sorry, you said difficulty 3?
Yes, the ship can assist. I believe it's a 10.
Yeah, we're
If
going to buy a die.
Okay, yeah. So you spend one of those, that'll put us down to 4. I
And you-
apologize to all of our watchers when you eventually get this for all the buffering, but that is definitely Twitch, and we're so sorry.
It's going to be one of those nights.
Oh, good. Did someone roll for the ship?
I can roll.
Sure. So you're looking for a 10 or under. You will crit on a 2.
Yep. I sure would. I didn't botch. That's the important thing.
Yep,
I did not succeed.
I got 1 success. So not a bot,
Oh no.
but definitely not a
Oh, no.
success. I'm
I'm
supposed to be
no.
a good pilot, dang it.
I need all 3 of you to give me a fitness security roll. Difficulty is going to be 1.
Okay, I just wanted to be known that Charlie belted himself in after the events of last time, so I just want that to be clear.
I succeed.
Fantastic.
Okay. I'm gonna spend a momentum for a 3rd dice.
Go for it.
Oh, I don't need to, because I got 2 successes and 120.
Oh no!
Fantastic. I'm going to take that as threat right now.
Oh.
I got 2
no.
successes.
Fantastic. So everybody succeeded?
Yes.
As we all go like, whoa!
So there's no real stress, but the ship is tossed around, and the sensors go kind of haywire for a second. It seems you've hit some sort of subspace, kind of stream. Charlie, can I get you to give me specifically you, give me a control science roll?
Feels a little unfair. Control science. Oh no, I'm good at that. Feels fair. Totally fair. You are a wonderful person.
And warp field dynamics, I think, is the thing I want to apply.
Oh,
Well, actually, we're going to call it quantum mechanics, but whatever, you have both.
sweet. So I'm gonna need that.
Can I assist?
No, this is more of a knowledge that Charlie either knows or doesn't know.
I'm gonna say, well, I got one success, which is good, and I rolled another 20 there, Matt.
Ooh, man, you are.
It is definitely one of those nights. Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
No.
You know what? I'm not gonna take that as threat. We're currently at 10 threat because I took that last one. This one we're gonna hold on to. Charlie, you remember as you're kind of being tossed about and the sensors are kicking off this information about a subspace stream. You remember that there was something that the captain of Deep Space Nine had done about space sailing, and you're like, as you're trying to remember what's going on, the ship shudders pretty hard. And Halada, I need you to make a daring con. The difficulty is still going to be 3. It is important that you succeed on this.
Do we have money to buy 2 dice?
You do have exactly enough to buy 2 dice.
Okay. And brief aside, I've actually seen that episode. It's one of the few.
Oh, and somebody can roll for the ship. Again, 10 is the number for the ship, and it crits on 2s.
That is 4 successes.
4 successes, fantastic. So that will get you 1. Did someone roll for the ship? That sounds like a no.
One success.
Whoa, hey, there's another. There, it's 8. So you got 2 momentum back. As you were kind of thrown, as you're thrown, the shuttle itself is forced into a quick warp, and you find yourselves quickly in front of a dead planetoid. Normally you would say this is an asteroid, but it is the size of Mars, give or take. You luckily pull it as the shuttlecraft kind of gets pulled towards the planetoid, which was not on sensors before now. You pull just at the right time and keep yourselves from hitting the planet itself. There is a small amount of atmosphere that causes a pretty rough descent, and you realize the best thing to do is to land the shuttlecraft and then take off again, because otherwise it's going to just be fighting to keep it up. And so you quickly land the shuttlecraft in almost an emergency style. You scuff the paint a little bit, which Anbara is just shaking her head because she's going to be the one that has to repaint that.
Oh, no. That's a job for Minkler.
Minkler's going to be out there painting giant targets on the ship.
She's just like, oh my god, I'm going to have to tell him to do this.
As you're kind of bounced around again, you all don't really take stress, but you are bouncing around and bruising and kind of, I wouldn't say getting cuts, but definitely, like, this isn't not a...
We're unhappy. There's going to be headaches.
This is not a fun ride. Faproche has taken kind of a contusion to the head at this point. None of it's as good, but the ship comes to a stop. And you're kind of just stopped on this planetoid.
So we entered warp.
You were forced into warp.
Okay. Where are we?
That's a good question. If only someone would run the sensors.
Science officer.
About to say, it sounds like time for science to the rescue.
Yeah.
All
Throw
right.
some science at it.
Oh, yeah. Is there any difficulty?
We'll give it a difficulty of 2. Astrophysics will apply.
All right. Excited. I was having a good day, but do some science stuff, and all right, 3 successes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
No,
So
no
you're
complications this time.
Oh, boo! Well, I mean, your last complication landed you on a planet, so that's going to put you guys at 3 momentum. You have traveled. I'm not going to give you a number of light years because honestly, like, it's not going to be accurate. But you've traveled what is essentially the equivalent of ship without a problem. The shuttle itself can go warp 5 constantly and push warp 7 without much of an issue.
Okay.
If it has to in like shorter bursts. But you can get back to the Serenites without an issue, but this does pull you in a weird way. The other thing that you note as you're kind of doing damage control is Tox speaks up and says, looks like we've taken some damage from the actual warp, and there are micro fractures in the hull that we may need to look at to make sure that we're space worthy before we go back up. The other thing that your scan tells you, Charlie, is that there is an atmosphere here that, while very, very thin, is breathable. And, like, don't go run around. You're probably going to fall over gasping, but you could walk outside right now and be able to breathe.
It looks like the atmosphere of this planetoid is breathable. However, I would not suggest, strenuous physical activities. In other words, I think as humans would put it, don't get too worked up running outside.
So it sounds like the next course of action is to assess the damage outside, correct?
Yeah. I want to see what this anomaly did to one of my machines.
Yeah.
So, Anbara, why don't you give me a control and engineering roll? Separately from that, on a different task, Charlie, also give me a control engineering roll. You're going to be working on 2 different things at the same time.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Both of those are a difficulty of 2.
Okay. I got 2 successes.
Fantastic.
1.
Okay. So as Anbara, as you're kind of going over the outside of the ship, you suit up in an environmental suit, but don't put the helmet on. Just kind of take it with you in case. But as you're kind of scanning the outside of the ship, you can see the microfractures. You can repair some of them. Roxy, thanks for the momentum. You can repair some of them with the tools you have here. The other ones you're not as worried about. There's no real danger coming from them, but there are a couple on the warp nacelles that if something tapped it wrong, you don't want to lose a warp nacelle. It's gonna be real bad. They look like stress from just being tossed about almost, not from any kind of impact. Charlie, as you're kind of going over the sensors, you realize that, or going over the systems, you realize that a lot of systems are down. Not necessarily because they're damaged beyond control or beyond repair, but like you got jostled around enough that stuff just turned off.
Okay.
And as you're bringing it back up, one of the systems you realize is down is communications. And as you turn it on, you're immediately pinged with a Federation signal.
There's a Federation signal coming from the vicinity. And then Charlie's going to try to triangulate on it.
The signal itself, all it keeps repeating is NCC 62006.
Does that mean anything to us?
So sorry, Amber. NCCs are number of the ship. So that each ship has its own specific number on top of having a name.
Okay.
So they're either NCCs or NX if they're the kind of like the prototype for that class of ship. So the NCC 62006, with a quick computer search, is the USS Hera, a Nebula-class ship that was lost 6 years ago in the Beta Quadrant. All right, we are back. Thank you for sticking around. Looks like we didn't really... well, we lost a couple people, but that's okay. They'll be back. Because if not, we'll send a fully armed battalion to remind them of our love. So, you guys, we're going to scene change. Now, I don't normally call these out, but I'm calling this one out for a very specific purpose. The complication range is going to a 19 to 20. So now on 19s and 20s, we will get complications. The space you're in is dangerous, and your ship is not 100%. It's like 95%, but still, like you're dealing with some tech issues. So yeah, keep that in mind. That's something that's coming. So can I get a? Let me look at your sheet real quick, Halana, before I say that. Are you, it looks like you're more of a control over daring pilot. Is that right?
Yeah, just slightly.
Okay, so let's have you roll control con. Small craft is going to apply. Difficulty is going to be a 2. And somebody can roll for the ship. Again, it's a 10. So, Charlie, why don't we have you roll for the ship? Ship crits on a 2.
I got an 11.
Okay.
So the scene change dropped us down to 2 momentum, right?
Scene change drops us down to 3 momentum.
3. Okay, I'm going to buy a die then.
Cool. That'll put us down at 2. See, we're getting there.
Wow, okay. I got 4 successes.
Oh, well, we'll just put those 2 back. So that'll put you back at 4. As you kind of lift off, you are buffeted pretty hard. There is the subspace. The subspace here is not stable at all. There have been there have been times in the past where other things have done this in other areas of space, but they're always very unique. So comparing this to those may or may not give you a good answer. So yeah, you're kind of up in the air on what exactly this could mean and what exactly this could do to the ship and to your hunt. What I do need is for Charlie to roll reason and science again. Difficulty is going to remain a 3. Someone can assist if they would like.
I'll help.
Cool.
And you said reason and science?
That's correct.
Okay.
I have the 1.
What now? Oh, you have 1. Okay.
I got a crit.
There you go. There's your 3.
I rolled a nat 1.
So you guys, between the two of you, like retuning the sensors and like kind of pushing out the background noise and radiation and energy, really kind of solidify on this this transmission, and you move between a couple of these planetoids and find a piece of the Hera. Well, a piece of a ship, which you immediately think is the Hera because it is transmitting this. It looks as though, from a quick scan, this is part of the... So, I'm sorry, a Nebula-class ship is very, very similar to a Galaxy-class ship, which is what the Serenitis is. The what do you call that? The saucer section is almost the exact same shape and size. The drive section, though, is almost non-existent, and it's like sitting on top of the warp nacelles. This looks like part of the forward part of the saucer section that would have been one of many communication arrays, because that's kind of how the Federation ships work. There's redundant systems, and also redundant systems help power the transmissions. So it looks like this is one portion of it. Can I get from Onbara a reason engineering? Difficulty is going to be a 2. Nope, that's not even your sheet. I would say nothing applies.
Oh.
None of your
Okay.
focuses apply.
Reason and engineering difficulty is 2.
Correct.
How much momentum do we have?
We have 4.
I will buy one. Third dice then.
Fantastic. So that'll put us down to 3 momentum.
Oh my god. Okay, I got 3 successes. And this is hilarious, you guys, because they're all 3s.
Nice.
I'm
That's
going to take a
wonderful.
picture of this because this is glorious.
So that'll put you back up to 4. Looking at it, the break in the saucer section that you're looking at doesn't look like there's no indication of weapons fire that would have caused this. It looks like there might have been some explosions, but the explosions come from the outside or the inside out. So the metal is jagged and pretty ripped up, and the section of the saucer is actually bigger than the shuttle you're in, and it looks like it's being powered by batteries that should not be there. As in, this was... Yes. Someone has jury-rigged some batteries together to attach to this saucer section so it will transmit.
Very interesting.
Nugget, to answer your question, 9 threat, and actually we're at 10, but 10 threat is not that bad. We always start off with 2 times the number of players. Oh, you know what? We should be at less threat, but whatever. It's too late. It's a little more than standard, but really threat is about things I can do later with it, and we don't always use the threat. So, yeah, it's just a resource we can use to manipulate the story. Is really how it works.
Yeah,
Really,
Um,
you just get rid of the threat if you want. Reason to use it, Matt. Just
You're
get
right.
rid of all of
I'm
it.
going to spend 10 threat, 18 Klingon warbirds. No, I'm
Birds
kidding.
of
so
prey.
we're dead.
Yeah, so the saucer section itself, this is probably, it's less than a quarter of the saucer section by far. It's maybe 10% of what you would expect, but it's not in a wedge necessarily, it's just a chunk. It's kind of just, it's floating here, it's stationary, it's not even weirdly rotating or anything, but it is powering it. Or it is being powered by these batteries.
Is there any indication of how long it's been here? Does it have a direction?
Oh, that's a
it's
good
pointing us to
question.
go?
Yeah.
So yeah, so the Hera's been gone 6 years. From every indication, after scanning the tritanium, it is, yes.
For the hull, yeah.
Yeah, the tritanium on the hull, this piece of ship is not as old as it should be. It looks like it has had 3 years between the time the ship would have disappeared and now.
That's weird. Okay, tachyon. I'm detecting any tachyons in the vicinity. How would you rate the ratio to my readings before?
Slightly higher, and by slightly I mean like 0.5%. Like, it's nothing.
Okay, that's weird.
But what you're picking up is a lot of subspace distortion and energy that is being generated from somewhere not in normal space.
I can't explain how this ship is still here and still in this condition, but the ship appears almost like new, apart from the damage.
Can I get you to give me a reason science roll?
I would, and I'm going to spend a point of momentum.
Sure, and this is going to be a difficulty 2. Your quantum mechanics are going to apply.
And also, I am cautious.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you'll get a reroll.
Yep, and I
Definitely needed it.
didn't need my reroll after remembering cautious. That's 3 successes.
Fantastic. I did say it was 3 difficulty, right?
I thought you said
Okay.
2, but
Did I say 2? Okay, cool. So we'll put you back at 4. That's fine. So what you're seeing here is that this part of the saucer has been placed in such a way that the streams are keeping it solidly set. If that makes any sense.
No, sorry.
so like
So
all
there
the
are
different
subspace streams coming all throughout the area.
Oh, okay, yeah.
This is in such a place that it is being held.
It's basically on a space sandbar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good. There. That's a perfect space analogy.
Thank you.
So yeah, it's weirdly sitting on this space sandbar. There's almost no way it could have found its way there on its own.
Okay. And this space sandbar, is it natural?
You've never. There is no record in anything from the Federation of anything like this happening before. Doesn't mean it's not. You've also never found 15 planetoids dead in an area.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff going on here.
Yeah.
Well,
is
Charlie,
it safe to approach it with how many different streams there are and the ad hoc nature of our repairs?
Yeah, you are. The big reason that the stream caught you off guard the first time is because you were not expecting it. It didn't show up on sensors. Okay. You, in the process, have adjusted your sensors to pick them up. And basically, Halata feels very confident that she can keep the ship corrected to keep it where it needs to be. Maybe not the best time to do a spacewalk, but you could definitely get closer to it. You might even be able to get onto the space sandbar as well. Hey, there you go. Thank you, Nugget, for the momentum. That'll put us at 5.
Woo. Okay, so can we beam into the ship?
Well, it's just
there's not. You could. There's not a whole lot of space inside of it. It would be a little
cramped.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be looking at empty corridors essentially.
Just broadcasting the ship's code still?
Yes, that's the only thing it's broadcasting.
And is it arranged in such a way that it looks like it's pointing anywhere or giving us any additional data?
Why don't we have on Bar, why don't you roll insight engineering?
Okay, let's see. What's the difficulty, please?
We're going to call it a difficulty of 2.
Okay. And how much momentum do we have?
We have 5.
I will use 1 for a third dice.
Cool. That'll put you at 3 dice.
Do any of my specialties apply?
No, not so much.
Okay. That is 3 successes.
So, okay. That will get you enough to get you your momentum back.
Mm-hmm.
It looks as though this is pointed in such a way as to point out and somewhat towards the wormhole. Not perfectly, but also like it's a long distance and they probably had to fight to get this where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
And that all by itself is, the feat that they're kind of pointed in the right direction is pretty solid. They're in the long run, they're not that far off. It was designed to get somebody over here.
Okay.
So it's a breadcrumb. It's really what it comes down to.
And is it so? Then can we infer that basically it was placed here, to boost communications through these streams or whatever into the wormhole?
Yeah, that's a solid
Okay.
solid assumption. Yeah.
Okay.
Then I don't. Trying to figure out what we should do next because obviously there's someone
Well,
alive.
It is
and-
sending out information.
hmm
You have not tried to hail it.
Oh,
Let's do that.
That seemed, yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely. No, it's not something that is right there. Let's have Charlie roll insight science real quick for me. It's a
Ooh.
difficulty of 2.
2.
Yeah.
I got 2.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah.
So you open hailing frequencies. That doesn't really do anything, but then you kind of ping it back with your acknowledgement code from the Serenitis. And the transmission stops, and another transmission begins, and it is not so much distress as a kind of like a transmitted log. Unfortunately, the entirety of it is garbled. What you hear is, "This is Captain LaForge of the Hera," and then there's a large bit of garbled information. "We have landed." Large bit of garbled. Most of the crew is garbled. Please send help. We don't know how long we'll survive.
Okay, so
No one
I
on
don't-
the other end of the universe is saying send nudes.
um, not knowing if this is possible at all or not, I am going to order you to clean that up, and then we're going to try to figure out where they landed.
Yeah.
I will tell you that you can attempt to do it. It's going to take some time,
Mhm.
but inside this this transmission on a Starfleet encryption is essentially a path that has been navigated, kind of laying it across what your sensors are picking up of the subspace streams, is a safe way to get to one of the farthest out planetoids.
I'm going to bring that up on a display map.
I can follow this trail.
Yeah, we're gonna have you roll something, but it looks relatively easy to do. It's just getting there.
Oh yeah.
So why don't we have you give me a control con roll? It's gonna be a difficulty of 2. Small craft is gonna apply.
Momentum
And
is at
I'm sorry?
momentum is at
5.
I buy a die.
Okay, that'll put us down to 4.
Very glad about a die. That is 3 successes.
All right, so that'll get you your 1 back. You begin piloting through. The ship gets buffeted a little bit, but it's nothing that the inertial dampeners don't correct pretty quickly, and it's just a little bouncy. It's not even like violently bouncy. It's just, it's like an older car going down a road with not so great shocks. And as you kind of progress closer to it, you start to pick up other tritanium kind of debris, little bits here and there. Nothing sizable, nothing even half the size of the shuttle itself. And it's mostly just hull that has been kind of ripped into mangled pieces. Nothing really usable, and might probably not even salvageable. But as you kind of approach that last planetoid, I do need. We're gonna change. We're gonna change scenes again. Again, I'm only telling you this because the complication level is going to go up again
Oh
to
no.
an 18 to 20. So any of those numbers, 18, 19, or 20, are going to cause a complication. As you get close to the planet itself, there is a momentary burst of energy from the planetoid. that kind of comes from the core and buffets the shuttlecraft. I need a control and con from Halata and a let's say daring and engineering from Anbara. These are going to be 2 separate rolls, but together you're looking for 5 successes total.
You got this. You got this.
Definitely buying a die.
Same.
Anbara, you can use electroplasma power systems as a focus.
Okay.
So did you both
and-
buy a die?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So do we have any rerolls?
I don't think so.
I don't think we do.
Uh,
I got 2 successes and a complication.
I got a success and 2 complications.
Oh, joy!
Oh God.
You're all gonna die.
We're all gonna die.
We're all gonna die.
You say
We're
2
all gonna-
successes and a complication?
I got 2 successes and a complication, yes.
I got 1 success and 2 complications.
Okay.
So
we are
I got
short on
very
the number of
hopeful.
successes we needed.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. Yes, I did spend. I'm sorry, I didn't say that. I spent threat to increase the complication, so that put us at 8 threat. So as this energy wave hits you, luckily between the 2 of you, you compensate for the engine. You try and adjust for what's going on, but the shuttlecraft is going down. You put it into a controlled crash instead of just a straight crash.
Mhm.
However, I need... We'll put it to you this way. 2 of your crew members of the 5 of you are going to be knocked unconscious. You guys get to choose the 2. Maybe the 2 NPCs?
Yeah, well, I think,
Yeah. Yeah.
So as the ship kind of comes down hard, all of you are tossed about. You normally would get stressed, but honestly, the stress goes away at the end of the scene, and once you crash, technically the scene ends. We're not going to worry about that. But the 2 other crew members are injured enough that they're not going to be usable off of the shuttlecraft. From the shuttlecraft, they could, poke at a screen from a bed, but outside of the shuttlecraft, they're not going to be able to move around as their legs and or hips are broken. The crash is very hard. The shuttle itself is probably going to need some serious repair before it can get back into space, and there is absolutely no way the Serenitis could come through this the way you did. The streams, it's just too big. It's going to hit all the streams at the same time.
And
However-
leave behind chunks of metal like the other one did.
Yes. However, you do as soon as you kind of hit the ground, you do begin picking up a hail.
Okay.
Everybody okay? Charlie stretches.
Like Umbara looks battered and bruised and probably has that cosmetic forehead gash or whatever. But mostly just looks pissed off, and she's just staring at the space duct tape
Halata's fur is rumpled. Grumbles something about it's the worst crash that didn't involve being under fire.
I told Minkler to spend for the greater level of space duct tape, but instead he cut corners, and this is what happens. This is what happens. We're crashed because these nacelles couldn't hold together under the shorthanded budget restrictions.
I love how it's Minkler's fault no matter what goes wrong.
Oh, entirely.
Charlie, can I get you to give me a reason science roll? You're scanning. The ship is actively scanning, and it's going to give you this information. It's whether or not it's going to give you enough information.
2 successes.
Fantastic. That's the difficulty.
Yay!
The planet has a breathable atmosphere. It is actually of higher quality than the last one. What you're noticing is that the while it is definitely a dead planet, the composition of the air and the levels of oxygen are quite similar to Earth. Not perfect, but good enough that even with strenuous activity, you guys shouldn't be dealing with too much trouble until you've been doing it for a little while. But also, that's really good because it's possible there is a actual fracture in the hull of the shuttlecraft, and you might be dead in literally dead right now if there weren't atmosphere.
We are just crashing this thing all over the place. We are not good at piloting this. I'm not good at leading you places.
This shuttle is cursed.
I'm going to say that we are experiencing more difficult navigational challenges than normal.
Fair. I mean, yeah, that is quite true.
So, yes, we're crashing.
Charlie's gonna put together a field kit because he kind of wants to go exploring, and he's not sure he knows how to fix a shuttlecraft.
We should probably respond to
Yeah.
the hail.
Oh, yeah.
Umbara will stay behind to fix the shuttlecraft.
Yeah, I figured.
As you guys are getting ready to respond to the hail, I'm sorry, let me check. Umbara and Charlie, you both notice that all three of you, your cuts and your superficial cuts and bruises, look like they didn't happen.
Well, that's disturbing.
I kind of feel like Umbara probably doesn't notice because she's focused on the ship. So someone had to have to point out.
Oh no, this is
your head bleeding?
Charlie probably has a gash and there was blood,
Yeah.
and now there is not.
Yeah.
So it even with that, it's pretty obvious, but yeah.
So Charlie's just putting two and two together. I'm starting to put together a theory because I've got an ability called testing a theory.
Sure.
That we are currently trapped in a kind of tachyon bubble or eddy, and that's what's generating all these strange effects, like cuts miraculously healing, a ship being gone for 6 years, but it looks like they only just crashed yesterday. Stuff like that. That's what he's starting to put together for his theory. Not there yet, but getting it.
Yeah.
So slowly figuring it out.
So as the two of you get things together, I don't want to I understand Umbara wants to stay behind, but also maybe Umbara should go.
Okay.
Just to see if there's things that you can salvage to fix the ship with, maybe.
Valid. Okay.
That is your motivation. I just don't want you to sit and have nothing to do tonight.
Yeah, no. That's fine.
And you do have two crew members.
She will do the scan and take a list. Yeah.
Yeah. You do have two crew members that can at least operate things on the ship. They just are not mobile. Checking the area really quick, you do notice that the tachyon levels are, again, slightly higher, but they're fluctuating. Almost like waves in an ocean. As the three of you kind of step out, you're caught with a brisk air and almost a smell of battery acid. None of it's hurtful, but it is uncomfortable.
I wanted to respond to the hail.
Oh yeah, you were responding to the hail. That's a good point. When you respond to the hail, it is an automated hail. This is the Sylvia LaForge, captain of the Hera. We have crashed on a planetoid. It seems to be some sort of dead planetoid. I'm not even sure where we're at. Our sensors were knocked out by whatever brought us to this section of space. We are attempting to work on the ship to some of the shuttles to at least get off of this planetoid to see where we're at. At this point, our supplies are low. Power is almost non-existent. Something seems to have sapped the power out of the warp engine and completely shut it off. and I don't know how much longer we can survive here.
Okay, so we definitely want to go try to find them, and maybe
And-
also check and make sure that didn't happen to our warp.
Well, you guys don't have you don't have a warp drive so much as like warp power packs, kind of.
Okay.
So it's a different system altogether, and there is no real power drain on them.
Okay.
But yeah, good call. Like, that is a good thing you should have checked. Now I can't screw you with it later for not looking. Dang. As I said, as you get outside, you're met with like a cold air and then like that, almost like a battery acid smell as you start off in the direction of the hail. The hail itself did repeat, and it just kept saying the same thing.
Yeah.
You guys walk for probably 3 or 4 kilometers. And eventually, kind of on the horizon, see what kind of looks like a weird, like encampment around a crashed Federation ship. Like half metal, half stone buildings. It looks very haphazard, but definitely something that was built to act as shelter. And as you approach, what you're starting to notice, or what you notice, is that there doesn't seem to be anybody around.
Okay.
Tricorders out. Scanning. All action mode.
Sure. You
Yeah.
do not sense any life signs beyond the 5 of you on this, I'd say, half of the planet.
I'm not detecting anybody in the encampment or even in the vicinity.
You are getting some faint power signals from the ship, and then there's a couple more inside the encampment as well.
Let's look for clues as to where they might have gone, or if we're too late.
Can I get everybody to give me an insight security roll?
Oh lordy. I am clearly too excited about finding this ship.
What
It's
is
going to be
the
a difficulty of 2.
Even worse.
Okay.
How much momentum do we have?
We have 3.
Are you spending for another die?
I am not.
Can I?
Absolutely.
Sweet. I'm going to do that one.
That'll put us down to 2.
Do any of our focuses apply?
I don't see any, honestly.
Okay.
3
Then-
successes.
I got 2.
Okay. Charlie?
Does cultural studies apply?
No, not at all.
Okay. I don't know.
Nope. I really need to spend a moment before I roll.
Okay. So, Anbara and Plata, you, as you're kind of walking through, Charlie is not deep in the tricorder, but definitely catching readings and checking things, and probably watching that tachyon waves. Anbara and Halata, you notice a body. Kind of in one of the... You've looked inside a couple of these ramshackle buildings. There's nothing that you've really seen. You've seen what looks like places people were living very rudimentarily, but now you've caught sight of like Starfleet, well, parts of a Starfleet uniform, a very scuffed and torn up Starfleet uniform, like a leg kind of sticking out of one of the buildings.
Time to go check on that.
Do any of you have any actual medicine?
No.
Nope. All 3 of you are at medicine 1.
That means we know the basics. We can tell if they're alive or dead or gonna die.
Like,
when you get
we
over,
all look at a desiccated corpse and it's like, poke, they're dead.
when you get over, what you find is clearly the body of a Vulcan. It does not look like it's decomposed in a way you would expect, but also there may not be the right things here to really decompose it correctly. But the ears definitely have the look of a Vulcan. Charlie, since you're a walking encyclopedia, you know that the Harrow was primarily crewed by Vulcans. There's 300. There were 300 members of the crew, and like 250 of them were Vulcans.
Kneeling over the body, I'm going to use my tricorder to access the comlink to see if I can get this guy's identity.
Sure. This is well. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah.
This is Lieutenant Commander Aleth. It's a member of the engineer corps. He was second in command in engineering, and his specialty, as it's noted here, was replicators and transporters specific.
Okay. I repeat all that out loud. Using the tricorder, does the tricorder tell me anything about the body that's not immediately noticeable, or is it sending off any kind of like flares for radiation?
Let's have you do a reason medicine.
So since I'm figuring that tachyon particles are a really major part about all this, so could I use testing a theory to roll one additional d20?
Yeah, absolutely. And your subspace fields as a focus would apply, but that doesn't really do you any good since you still only crit on a 1.
That is 2 successes.
Fantastic.
Nope. Yeah, 2 successes.
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't set a difficulty, but the 2 was what we were looking for. It looks as though this Vulcan died yesterday, but has been dead for 2 years. Which doesn't make a lot of sense, and you, with not a lot of medical knowledge, not making a lot of heads or tails here, but it very clearly looks as though they both very recently died and have been here for a time.
Was their death violence?
It looks like some sort of energy hit them and caused them to die. Essentially, like disrupted the electrical pulses in the body and just shut him off.
Okay. So he just kind of fell where he stood.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to find any more bodies to see if I get the feeling that maybe more people might have died, and if they had, they probably died the same way.
Yeah.
You guys go through what it has to be 50 buildings, and there are probably another 75 Vulcans, a couple of humans. Almost exact same thing. They've died very recently, but have been here for a while. They're not decomposing the way you would expect, but there's also no animal life here, not even like microbial life here. And they all look like they were hit by some sort of energy pulse that caused them to die.
Huh.
My working theory is that they all died at the exact same time, and that we need to not be here when the next one comes through.
That is horrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably right, but that's horrifying.
Yeah.
Charlie, is there a way that you can get a timing of this phenomenon? Perhaps I'm going to see what we can scavenge to get us out of here.
Tell me what I need to carry for you.
I could possibly, but I would need more sophisticated equipment. I'm not sure that my tricorder would be able to predict it. At least not be able to build a working model fast enough. But if we could scavenge working pieces from the computer core and take it back to the runabout, we may be able to do that. In theory, I could design a temporal shield. I remember reading in old logs that there have been several past ships which have managed to make temporary barriers against tachyon fields. However, considering the state of our ship, the state of the equipment around us, and I'll get to work. I'll get to work.
Charlie, one more thing that you notice in each of these bodies,
Mm-hmm.
there is a buildup of tachyons that is higher than the area would suggest. And as you kind of scan the three of you, you're also recognizing that while way, way lower, you are soaking up the tachyons.
Okay, I'm wondering, and he's saying this out loud. It's possible that we are just naturally accumulating these tachyon particles, and that the longer that we are here, the sooner the effect will happen.
Okay.
Oh.
So,
Is
yes.
there any way to reverse engineer some sort of repulsion effect?
You see Charlie kind of do the.
So I'm going to
And I feel like Umbara just like.
No. He's like, maybe. I hope so.
No.
So I'm spending 2 threat. Have you guys ever played one of those shocking games where like you all hold the stick and then it shocks everybody and somebody has to hit a button to make it stop or something along those lines?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, well, this is a game they used to have. Basically, you all feel the planet pulse, almost like it breathed underneath you. And then there is definitely an energy discharge. You all feel an uncomfortable amount of energy go through you, much like being shocked. But it dissipates. Other than a great deal of discomfort, it doesn't seem to hurt you.
How much did the levels on us just skyrocket, though?
Beep beep.
None.
None. Okay.
The tachyons are still being absorbed slowly, but it also looks like nope. Sorry, I can't hear you. Sorry about that. It also looks like the tachyons are excited in you by the energy. They're starting to calm down pretty rapidly, but it's almost like they were like a box of bees shaken up for a second.
Okay, so this is a relative levels thing. The pulse is going to happen no matter what, but how many particles we've accumulated is how dangerous it is to us.
Charlie, can I get you to give me actually Charlie and Onbara, give me a reason reason science. We'll say subspace fields applies. We'll say electroplasma power systems apply too.
What is the difficulty?
It's going to be a difficulty of 3, but the 3 needs to be between the 2 of you.
I got 3. Science.
I got 2.
Okay, well that's 2 momentum you gain. Charlie, you've got, according to this, assuming you don't start picking up tachyons any faster, you've got about 18 months.
Oh,
that's not so bad.
The pulses are coming. The pulses are coming every 3 hours or so, and the tachyons seem to be accumulating at a relatively slow speed, but they are definitely accumulating. And if nothing else changes, if everything stays consistent, you've got about 18 months before the pulse will kill you. Or let me rephrase that: until the tachyons are at the level that the dead people have.
Okay. Still not good, and also with the way that time flows around here, that's a big problem.
Yes, and inevitably there is some sort of cosmic event that occurs in these situations to make all of our previous calculations horribly null and void. So,
Why would you say that out loud?
Because if we assume the worst is coming, we aren't surprised by it.
Correct. And I like to plan to just encourage everyone to aid me in getting out of here as quickly as possible.
Tell me what you need me to carry back to the ship.
This is why I love working with you, Commander.
You guys have gone through the buildings, and there has been little to no technology in the buildings. You found communicators, and you could probably salvage a little bit out of those. but beyond that, there's been nothing really here. The ship itself it's not intact by any means, but there is enough there that you could probably go in and find more than enough technology. Some of it would be a matter of powering it, because while you are picking up power signals, they are minimal at best. You would have to guess at least one of them is powering that hail that you picked up. And then one of them is probably acting to communicate with the piece of the saucer section that you found out in space.
Okay.
If we're going into the ship, I'm going to try to salvage the logs and stuff if we can.
Sure. Is that where you guys are going?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I think so, because we're still not picking up any like actual life signs or anything, right?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Although I would say after the pulse, Charlie, you probably scanned the planet itself, or the planetoid. You can't get beyond maybe a meter down. It's solid, and not necessarily deposits or of anything specific, but like the density of the rock is keeping you from being able to scan much lower.
I don't understand what's going on. He's kind of just re-tapping tricorder. It feels like there's something below us that might be blocking the signals, but I'm not sure if it's a natural phenomenon or what it could be. It might be related to the subspace sandbar we are trapped on.
Is there? It also might be another instance of I mean, now this is crazy, but we've experienced crazier things. But is it possible that this is another indication of preserver tech with some secret super room or something below us causing all of these various pulses and things?
God, I hope not.
It could be, but I'm not. Yeah, we would have to do more tests. I'm not sure which we either work on building a device to block the effects of the tachyons, or we could spend our time investigating the area.
Let's prioritize staying alive and fixing the shuttle. And then if we have time after that, we can try to solve mysteries.
Sounds good.
As you kind of head towards the ship itself, there is a clear like ramp up into the side of the ship where it has been opened, and it's clear it was used a lot. Probably when they pulled a lot of this stuff out and were going in and out of the ship. Before we get into the ship, though, I do want us to take a break. Because, we've been doing this game thing for a little bit, and even though there was a short break, some of us need to stretch our legs and go to the bathroom. Don't forget, if you do any subscriptions tonight, or tips, or donations through the Ko-Fi link below, all that money right now is going to the Red Cross for Ukraine. So subscriptions normally, for Twitch subscriptions, the Rook and Rasp only gets about half of what is donated. But John and Roxy, who run Rook and Rasp, they are matching any donation. So basically, whatever you give, that full amount's going to go to the Red Cross. So feel free to click on that stuff. We're going to do that through at least the 13th. I don't think that time frame has been moved at all yet, but who knows what will happen. Don't forget that you can also follow us if you are not following us already. And also, not that I don't think it'll apply, but there is a free subscription through Amazon Prime. Don't forget that you can use that. All you have to do is link up your Amazon Prime. It's relatively simple. And then you get to subscribe for free. And a little bit of money comes our way and costs you nothing but clicking the subscribe button once a month, every month. So we're going to take a 10-minute break. We're going to stretch legs. And we will be back with more stories about what's going on in this weird planetoid. So we will see you guys in about 10.
Yeah.
And welcome back to the Voyages of, and the planet that time mutilated, I guess. I don't know. We're going to find out. So you guys are headed onto the Hera, correct? All right. So let's have Charlie, since you have, encyclopedic or walking encyclopedia, let's have you give me an insight command roll. None of your stuff applies.
That's rude.
Yeah, I know. And it difficulty of 1. Shouldn't be a big deal.
Okay, 2 successes.
Fantastic. I'm sorry. We also changed scenes, so you went down a momentum, so that will put you back at 5.
Yay!
So you recognize the deck you're on relatively quickly. You know, you don't often come in from the side of the ship, so it takes a little bit to orient yourself, but you're pretty solid on it. As you're kind of walking down the hall, all of the doors are open, but also if the ship has no power, they probably just ripped the doors open and left them open. So it doesn't seem that off. The ship itself is not sitting exactly level. It is definitely listing to the starboard side. Don't ask me which side the starboard side is. I'm just going to use the word starboard. But it's not enough that it's impossible to move around. It's just a little off. You are on deck 7. Deck 1 is going to be the bridge, and you know that deck 22 is engineering. Which way do you guys want to go?
Commander Halata?
Priorities are survival, then mystery. So engineering.
Okay. So you find your way over to a turbo lift. The doors are open, and it looks like there's been some like jury-rigged extra ladders up and down because there is no actual turbo lift.
Right.
So you guys climb down 15 flights. It takes a little bit of time. There is another pulse in that time frame. When like right as you're getting down to the engineering level, Charlie, you do a quick scan. The tachyons are building up a little bit faster than they were, and you're down to probably about 14 months.
14 months? You hear him say that out loud. I have some bad news. It would appear that the tachyons are starting to accelerate, and we have less time now.
I wish I was surprised. All right.
On a quick scan around, though, it looks like the tachyons inside the ship are at a higher frequency than they were outside of the ship. And that might be part of the problem.
It feels like the ship is the source of the tachyon particles. It seems like there are much denser collation of tachyon particles within the ship than there is outside of it.
Okay, so the goal is to get out of the ship as fast as we can while still getting everything we need.
You kind of make your way into engineering, and the warp core itself is dead. Nothing moving, nothing going. There's no real light or power down here. You guys have brought flashlights, I assume. Like, that's not a problem. What's the plan?
What's the plan, Umbara?
I think we need to see if we can inquire whatever we can and get out of here as quickly as possible.
Okay. Why don't I get an insight engineering roll from Umbara and Charlie? Halana, you can do that as well, but honestly, it's they're gonna know better what to do and what to grab.
And any specialties of play?
I'll let you apply electroplasma power systems because you're looking for stuff like that. Charlie, nothing of yours really applies here.
Okay, I have one.
Difficulty?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a difficulty of 2 is what you're both looking for.
Okay. Oh, then I've only got one.
Okay.
How much momentum do we have?
We have 5.
I'm going to spend one.
Okay. That'll put us down to 4.
All right. And is the complication rating still 18?
Yes, it is.
Okay, then I got 2 successes and a complication.
Fantastic. I'm going to take that complication as a threat.
Well, you don't need to take it personally. I'm just saying.
Yeah, so between the two of you, you pull bits and bobs that you would need to kind of fix up the shuttle. You do, not too far from engineering is also the shuttle bay.
Okay.
And you go in there for some replacement parts and pull those. It just takes a little bit longer because Charlie, you're not sure quite what's going on, but you seem a little distracted.
Okay, he's just gonna power through it. Charlie's like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
really tired, or I got really shaken up in the ship.
I just imagine Umbara's like, no, not that converter, the rear deflector converter.
Anbara, can I get you to give me an insight and command roll?
Okay.
I'm sorry, not
what-
Anbara, Halada. Insight and command
okay.
from Halada. Composure's going to apply.
Difficulty?
Difficulty's 2.
Okay. That is 3 successes.
Okay, fantastic. That'll put you guys at 5 momentum.
Nice.
Something about, like, as they're pulling things and you're kind of grabbing them and holding the flashlight like you do when you're not the one actually working on the car.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie is... Something's different about Charlie's physicality. He's moving almost like prey. Like he's waiting for a predator. And that is not normal for him.
Okay.
I take it I don't notice anything. I'm just doing my thing.
I will keep an eye on that, but I'm not sure what to do with it at the moment. So
Sure.
I will keep an eye out to see if there's any threats that, like, maybe he's picking up that I'm not seeing.
Sure. You guys continue on. It takes a couple hours to kind of gather the things and then gather something to carry them in. That would make it easier. So you put together makeshift backpacks out of some of the equipment down in engineering. Load them up for all 3 of you. And that's about that time is when that another pulse goes off. It is for Halada and Anbara, it is uncomfortable. Charlie, for you, it's pain. It's almost like your insides are on fire for a moment. To the point were you climbing, it's possible that you could lose your grip.
Charlie just starts hissing and kind of looks like he wants to back into a corner, and just like flexing his little talon digit just back and forth, kind of a heavy panting almost.
Charlie, compare your levels to ours. I think that hit you harder than us.
Beep 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 beep.
Your tachyon levels are the same. However, there's something going on with your genetic makeup that is off.
I can't explain it. There is something strange about the readings I'm getting. If I had to put a theory together, I think Saurians may not be as sturdy when it comes to tachyon particles.
Okay, so let's assume that any timeline is very accelerated for you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, I've always been very lucky.
Let's get you off this ship as soon as possible.
yeah.
You are down to about 12 months also from the levels.
Just Charlie or them as well?
All 3 of you. All 3 of you have the same, almost the exact same levels. I mean, it varies a little bit, but you have essentially the same levels. So who is climbing first? Who is in the middle and who's last?
I would like to be last.
Okay.
I'll be in the middle then, because we should get Charlie out of there fast.
And have
Charlie
more chances to
doesn't
catch
fight
him.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
Charlie is kind of like a hamster scurrying up the ladder.
Yeah. I just see like Umbara's like doing that thing where she's like she's still being like sassy and sarcastic and stuff, but like it's not as like biting as it usually is because she's actually really worried about her science bro. So it's just like, yeah, you go. Like
You guys get up the ladder and can easily head out. Do you want to head all the way out of the ship, or do you want to try and pull logs like was meant?
I am going to send them to the shuttle to start repairs, and I'm going to go get the logs.
Fantastic. So the two of you head back to the ship. Halata, you're climbing to the bridge?
Yep.
Okay. Can you give me a reason science roll?
What's the difficulty?
It's going to be a 2. None of your stuff applies.
I'm going to buy a die.
Sure, that'll put you down to 4 momentum.
Well,
Uh-oh.
I got 2 successes.
Yay!
And a complication.
I got a complication. Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm going to take that as threat.
Okay.
As you're scanning, what you see is that on deck 2, there is a power supply there that is active that you're probably going to have to be able to activate anything on the bridge.
All right. So, taking a detour.
So give me a fitness security roll. Difficulty is going to be a 1. Survival applies.
Three successes.
Oh. That will cap you on successes. As you're climbing, there is another pulse. And it is enough that, not necessarily that you would let go, but it startles you in such a way that it is hard for a moment for you to hold on. But you wrap yourself kind of in the ladder for a second and like tense everything.
I'm imagining the tail gets involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And so if this were something that Charlie had gone through, it probably would have been very bad. Charlie and Ambara, you both feel it. Charlie, you stumble some as you're walking back.
Umbara like gives like an arm and then it's just like it's weird.
You guys, I'm sorry, Halata, you get all the way to the deck 2, and as you're going through and looking for it, kind of following the trail, you come into what you know to be the captain's quarters. It's pretty clearly marked, and there is a human body in with the rank of the insignias for the rank of captain.
Yeah.
Aww.
Mm.
Charlie would say if he was there.
Can I get you to give me insight and engineering roll?
What's the difficulty?
2. I would say survival does apply.
Okay. I'm going to buy a die.
Fantastic. That'll put us down to 5 momentum.
Oh
Really,
no.
this expanded complication range is a joy and a delight. I got 1 success and a complication.
Fantastic. We're going to let that complication be a complication. As you walk in and go towards kind of the body, something goes off. There's a flash for a second, and what occurs to you afterwards, as this kind of all plays out very quickly, the power supply is fed into a computer screen. The computer screen comes on, but because it's so dark, it startles you when it flashes on, because it doesn't go like dark to dim to bright. It goes from dark to daylight all of a sudden.
That hurts, yeah.
The startlement causes you to touch one of the panels on the wall, Can you roll 6 effect dice for me?
Or
Yeah. I swear, if you start firing phasers at the runabout as we're walking towards it.
I hope those controls aren't in here. 2 and 2 effect.
Okay. You're going to take 4 stress.
Okay.
Not a big deal. However, you are on deck 7.
Okay.
Charlie and Ambara, you guys get back to the shuttle, and just as you're kind of getting everything unpacked and like you're looking to start working on stuff, you are at the ship.
Okay.
The stuff is not with you, but you're clearly leaving the ship to go back to the shuttle.
So we like time rewind?
I don't know, maybe. Anything unattended is not with you.
Mhm.
So if you had you had put down the bags of equipment that you had stripped, those are not with you. But like the tricorder that's on your hip is with you. And Anbara you can see inside the ship. Anbara is standing there, like where you left her when she was getting ready to climb up to the deck.
Halata?
That's what I meant. Halata.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
So like Umbara just like looks at Charlie with just that like patented, Cardassian side eye and was like, are you also seeing and experiencing this?
Anbara, or I'm sorry, Jin, have you ever seen a Komodo dragon?
Yeah.
Have you seen a Komodo dragon that is about to kill and like has that like there's a weird lizard murder face?
I have not, but I can imagine it.
For a split second, Charlie's normally kind of glassy eyes have that look, and then he responds like normal.
I said, it looks like we've been around. Why are you staring at me? Is there something on my back?
Are you all right, Charlie?
Yes. I just asked you a simple question.
Charlie, you recognize that it has been hours since you've eaten? And
Man,
you can smell blood, and it smells delicious.
Oh man, I am incredibly hungry.
And this is,
I-
I would
Yeah.
say, I don't know what Charlie normally does for food. I would assume not this, but this is, you recognize in some part of you that this is abnormal.
Charlie's gonna you see him just tear off any backpacks he's holding and just kind of throw it at you, and then Charlie kind of just backs away while eyeing you. But you notice that his gait has changed from the normal upright, kind of lizard man walk that he's had on the ship to a very. Were you did you watch the episode? What was it, the Naked Time tribute we did? Very animalistic and like that. Where again you see kind of his hands just twitching back and forth.
Charlie? You okay, buddy? Because you don't look okay.
Charlie, your hands, now that you're kind of moving them back and forth and you can see them and recognize them, they don't look right either. You've got an extra knuckle on all of your digits, and they end in like digging claws.
Commander, weirder things are happening now. Could you come out?
Will I be of any use in the repairs you need to make? Because you gotta make them either way.
Yes.
Okay.
But right now, if only because then I wouldn't have to look over my shoulder while I'm working. Like, that is very useful to streamlining repair time.
Got it. I can come play security.
Charlie, can I get you to give me a reason and science roll? Subspace fields would apply. Difficulty's going to be a 2.
All right, I got this. I'm going to spend momentum because
Sure.
I feel like is this part of the tachyon field thing that I've been theorizing about?
Absolutely.
All right.
So that'll put you at what, 4 dice?
Yeah. I can reroll one of these.
Nugget, thank you for coming out. We were happy to have you. This will be up on YouTube before too long. You catch the rest of the series up there as well.
Aha. That was almost bad. That was almost really bad. It's still bad, but it was almost really bad. So in good news, I have 5 successes.
Oh,
in
geez.
bad news, I have 1 complication.
Did you use your reroll?
I did. There's 2 complications.
Oh, this is a fun night.
I'm going to take that as threat.
Oh, yay.
You're going to go over your cap. So you're going to get to ask questions on this because I'm not just going to let momentum go to waste. You realize that your DNA is being reverted in spurts, and you are gaining. You're not losing sentience, but you're gaining more primal awareness and kind of urges. And it's also changed your body at this point too. You like. I'm sure the science part of you is like, oh, that's neat. Where did that extra knuckle come from? How'd that work? It didn't even hurt. But the rest of you is like, oh God, where did that extra knuckle come from? I didn't even notice.
Charlie, with his newly clawed appendages, where he briefly stabs his clothing, trying to, still getting used to the talons. And they're like tiny talons, right? It's not like
Yeah.
It would appear that the tachyon particles are causing me to regress physically to an earlier stage of saurian development. If I had to guess, this would be Saurian prolificus, which was our most immediate ancestor, and they were primarily carnivores. So I'm going to keep my distance from the rest of you, because don't take this the wrong way. You're smelling delicious. And
you can also smell Garahar and Prosh. They both have bled, and you can smell that blood from where you're at.
And I'm a little worried about our crewmates. I believe they're still bleeding. I don't think we tended to their wounds enough.
Real fast, since, no offense, but it sounds like we have very limited time. Do you have a theory on why we were sent back here? Because that is detrimental to us leaving.
I fell into something. I'm pretty sure that was bad.
Halata, I would say that you could guess that your interaction with a electrical field might have been the thing that triggered the time rewind.
Yeah, so I'll say that. Like I fell into something electrical, and then we all immediately teleported.
Okay.
Wait. If you manipulated an electrical field and it caused us to revert to where we were previously, a strong enough electrical field may be able to revert the runabout back to an earlier state where it wasn't damaged.
Okay,
John,
let's
how
work
do you
on that
come
with
up with
something.
this stuff? Like that is like I'm not prepared for that at all.
Let's work on that with a smaller object than the shuttle to start, and we will get you some food while you work on that project, and Anbara will work on repairing the shuttle.
Hang on, because the electrical field occurred in the ship, right?
Yes.
So, should I go in there with you to isolate this idea, since I don't want to risk Charlie degrading further?
I would be the most logical choice in trying to figure out how to manipulate the field.
I agree, but the ship made your symptoms so much worse, and if we lose you completely, then we're not going anywhere, and this is going to be permanent.
Charlie, you recognize. I'm not going to have you roll because we're capped and it's not that big of a deal. You recognize with your theory and the theory kind of in practice, you might be able to modify the comm badges to emit a field that would kind of protect all of you from more tachyons and the interaction of the tachyons with electrical fields. The downside is they would be useless for communication, and they may be completely useless after this mission.
I may be able to engineer a field that would protect us from the tachyons. Unfortunately, it would require the components in all of our comm links.
Okay.
Also, I'm going to need someone else's hands.
Yeah.
Do that thing, and we will just stay together.
Can we scavenge? I mean, this may be tasteless or whatever. Can we scavenge comlinks from the bodies of our fallen comrades?
It's possible, but it's also very likely that they don't have power any longer.
That's fair. Okay.
So why don't I have Charlie? Why don't you give me a let's say control science? Subspace fields is going to apply. On Bara, you can assist with control and science. Electroplasm power systems will apply.
Okay. And just one dice, right, for assistance?
Just the one die. The difficulty is a 4. So before you roll, Charlie, don't tell me what you rolled yet. If you want to buy dice, we have 6 momentum.
I would like to buy dice.
How many did you want to buy?
2.
Okay, so that's 3 momentum.
Because we really need to make this. Also, the complication range is what, 18 to 20 now, right?
Correct. But don't forget, you have caution science, and this still falls under testing a theory, so you get an extra die anyway.
All right.
I want to make it hard for you
very
guys, but I want you to succeed too.
You are very bad dice. You are not
Oh
behaving.
no.
It's not. I think we got the 4, which is good, because I got 3 successes. However, I rolled an 18.
You do have that reroll.
That was with the reroll.
Did Ambara, you got 1. So that's the 5 you need. That's great. So as you're working through it, you start with Halada, or you start with Charlie. Charlie is easily shielded. You move on to Anbara. Anbara, you're pretty solidly shielded. You go to Halada, and as you go to shield Halada, something happens with the tricorder itself. It gives off sparks, which tricorders almost never do. And then the comm badge on Halada gives off sparks. The field engages, but Halada's fur has lengthened, and the tail has thickened, and there are clear protruding canines, almost like a saber-toothed tiger length. Halada, you still have your mental facilities about you, but you feel feral at best. Nothing you can't control, just that there's this instinct to, like, murder for murder's sake, because
that's, cats are little
you're a
machines.
cat, and you can do what you want.
Okay, so I'm going to focus that energy into climbing right now.
Nice. Good call. But the field does go up. The tricorder is useless after that. You do have, I would assume, 2 other tricorders with you. It's not like it's the end of the world, but like whatever caused that, there's something obviously affecting electrical fields on the planet, and the tricorder just finally was like, "Nope, I'm done."
But that was my favorite one. It had the purple stripe.
His name was John.
For fans who watch Lower Decks, that'll make.
Oh.
So now we've got slowly mutating raptor person, slowly mutating saber-tooth person, and I'm curious what's going to happen to Ambara. I'm curious, are you going to become a monk, or?
I get psychic powers.
Umbara's just gonna stop and be like, "Hold on, guys, I need to paint."
Oh God.
So the three of you climb back to the second the what are those called?
Deck?
Second deck 2. Thank you. Whew. My brain just was like, oh, words aren't important anymore. You guys climb back to deck 2 and back into the captain's room, where again the same thing happens. There's clearly something there that triggers when you walk in to turn on the screen, but a lot of you.
I warned them it's coming.
Yeah. The screen comes on, and it's not just like the little computer screens. It's like the full wall screen, and it's the captain looking pretty haggard. She's grown like facial hair, and it's very unkempt, and she has like almost that thick unibrow we think of in Neanderthals. And she says, "This is probably my last log. What we have determined is that the caves beneath the planet are not affected by the pulses, and the tachyons don't exist there. From the best that my science officers can figure out, the tachyons are being produced by the subspace streams that brought us here. And I'm not sure what is causing that, but it's all working together to weirdly devolve our physical forms while leaving our mental facilities strong. I've sent most of my crew down. I'm leaving this last message for whoever might find this. I've set it up specifically so that only a Federation ship will be able to find this, our crash site. The best my science officer could figure is that at some point in time something happened in this area, most likely a weapon that caused a rip in space-time that has exhibited itself in a very unique way, and that's what killed these 15 planets. I'm not sure how long we'll last down there. There's no power that can be used on the planet any longer that gives off any more than just the bare minimum to run electronics like this. And I don't know how much food we have really left at this point. And she turns just for a second, and that's when there's a pulse, and you can see the energy on the video capture, and she just kind of like her eyes flutter for a second, and she drops. The log goes for another 20 or 30 seconds, and then auto ends.
Okay, so we'll record that. I'm going to see if there's any maps loaded of where these caves are, and then we should go.
It is important to note the start date is from 2.5 years ago. And according to the computer's clock, because you have access to that for the moment, it has been 2 years, 11 months, and like 4 days since the Hera was shunted into this part of the galaxy. So you're about 5 months late.
Yeah.
Well, or 3 years. Or both.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not likely to be survivors, but still.
Well, let's try to recreate that pulse to fix our ship. Because if we can do that, then at least that'll buy us more time that we don't have to spend on physical repairs.
All right, give it a go.
Anbara, why don't you give me a control engineering? None of your stuff applies. To download the specs that you would need from the computer core that's feeding off this little bit of power. It's going to be a difficulty of 3.
Okay. I would like to buy a third die.
Cool. That'll push down to 2.
Okay. We have a reroll?
We do not currently, although Charlie could help.
Please help, because I only got
I'm-
2 successes.
Charlie can do this. Charlie's great. Charlie with the crit.
Yes!
There you go. There you go. So that'll get you 1 back. That'll put us back at 3.
Whew.
So you start downloading the schematics or the information there. On a quick read through between you and Charlie, you realize what you need to do at the shuttle to maybe pull it back. It could be dangerous on several levels. At this point, between the 3 of you, Halata has about 6 months left before she's going to die from these pulses. On Bara and Charlie, or on Bara, you have about 8 months, and Charlie, you're at about 3.
Oh, cool.
Aw, but just became a cool raptor guy.
All right. So let's hurry back, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Fantastic, yeah. You all head back down. Climbing is pretty easy for 2 of you because, your bodies are built for, climbing. On Bara, you're having a tough time.
Wait, really?
No, you're not having a tough time. It's just compared to the cat with the thick prehensile tail and Raptor Charlie, you're definitely not. This is not your forte compared to that.
Well, I mean, because I was gonna say, like, of the 3 characters here, like this chick has the most experience, probably physically going up and down the
That's
elevator shaft.
Well, you're also.
But
For whatever reason, you have not experienced any physical regression.
yeah, well, it's because obviously, Amara's like a perfected being, so.
Yes, that's exactly. Yeah.
That's her, I thought,
So you guys get back to the shuttle. Charlie, you don't sense, other than the 5 of you, or the 4 other people that came with you on the shuttle, you don't sense any other blood. And you have this feeling that you can sense probably 8 or 15 miles away.
Hey.
Blood. Yeah. Halata, there's just nothing here for you to, like, it's not fun anymore. This planet is dead, and there's nothing to even murder. And that is sad. And your feral saber-toothed cat just is very sad inside.
Yeah.
And there's not even stuff to push off a table. Terrible. But you do start to see kind of the world through those lenses. While still, again, maintaining all of your mental facility. Just this is like there's a deeper level of perception that you're getting. So, according to the research, which I'm not going to make you roll to read through because that's silly, you would need to construct a device that is going to pulse the tachyons inversely. So we're going to call this an extended task. You're going to need, we're going to call it 15 successes. Any complication is going to extend the number of successes you need by 3. And you do have 2 other engineers that can assist both of you.
Sweet. Okay.
What was the question? Did you say something?
I said sweet.
Oh, okay.
And how many successes do we need again?
A total of 15 currently.
Okay. And how much momentum do we have?
We have 3.
And do any of our foci apply?
Charlie, your subspace fields is going to apply.
Sweet.
On Bara, your electroplasma power systems will apply. Tox has nothing. He's useless in this particular situation. And Faproche doesn't have a sheet, so Faproche doesn't have focus.
Okay.
And this is, did I say it's control engineering?
You needed to know.
It's control engineering.
Okay. All right.
All right.
I'm buying a 3rd dice.
Fantastic. Halata, can I get you to roll for Prosh? He is at a 14, And I will roll for Tox. Who? Which one of them is helping which one of you?
I don't care.
Okay, I'm gonna have the blue people stick together, so Tox will help Charlie.
Yay!
That's
Blue
a
friends.
success.
I
So
have
what
three.
did you get there, Charlie? I can't see all of your fingers.
Oh,
So
I had
just
to roll one. I was only rolling one die to help, right? Or am I rolling all my
No,
dice?
you're rolling on your own, and then Tox is helping you. So you'll roll the normal 3 successes. Okay, so that's a total of 4. And then you had 3 on Bara, and then did Prosh help?
I hope so.
Well,
Got
that's
one.
really up to Halada.
Yay!
Yep. So 4 and 4. So that's 8. No, I take it no complications?
Nope.
We were rolling one die to assist you and I.
Correct.
No complications.
Let's do it one more time. Let's see if we can get it again.
Okay.
Oh
Oh no.
Well, he's not gonna give
That's
a
an
success.
18.
Did you say an 18?
Oh no.
Uh-huh.
Oh no.
That expanded complication range is just paying so many dividends for you.
It is. Charlie, how many did you get?
1.
Can I grab another
Yes.
momentum for a
Yes.
third die? Okay. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh.
This is fun.
2 successes and 2 complications.
Awesome.
11. You know what? Go ahead and do a reroll. That's fine.
Okay, thank you.
I will spend my channel points to give you a reroll because that's a lot of complications.
Awesome. Okay, 4 successes.
Okay, that's much better.
Yes, it is.
Oh, there it goes. Okay, cool. So that'll put you at 5 more. So that puts us at 13. Unfortunately, the complication, because of the 2 other complications, it's now at 21 you have to get to.
Ah.
So we're gonna have to roll again.
Okay.
Hey, that's
How much
success.
momentum do we have left?
1.
Okay. So we probably want to hang on to that.
I
FYI,
got
you can
4.
also buy dice with threat.
Don't like that.
I mean, spend the momentum.
No, it's okay. Cause I just also got a crit. So that's 3.
4.
1 here.
And that's a total of 9, because Ox helped there too. So that actually puts you
Yay.
at 22, which is exactly
Yes.
where you needed to be.
Yes.
Actually, 1 more. But so the 4 of you, Halada's just sitting over there going, yeah.
Go team.
Pacing.
Just like over in the corner with one leg up in the air, like, cleaning. No, the 4 engineering staff, or the 3 engineering staff and the chief science officer, kind of band together and work together to create this little pulse device. And then you realize for it to work and for Halada and Charlie to go back to their proper selves, they're going to have to turn off their fields.
Hey. I'd take that risk.
Okay. Charlie, I assume you're going to take that risk too?
Well, I mean, I do like being cool raptor person. Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
kind of boring.
Do I need to turn off my field or am I good?
You're good because you haven't mutated or unmutated.
Yeah.
So the pulse goes off. Several things kind of happen at once. First of all, Charlie and Halada, you go back to kind of your normal physical selves, and the feral primal instincts are kind of gone altogether. There's the memory of them, so that kind of sits there deep inside the recesses of your brain, but the overall like impression of it is gone. You are no longer on the planet. You are actually above the planet in a ship that has some microfractures that have been space duct taped together. Halada, who was not at Con, is sitting at Con. Charlie, who was not at the ops station, is at the ops station, and on Barra, you're at the engineering station. There is that pulse there, but all the other equipment that you had that was unattended is gone.
Are Garahar and Fabrush better?
They are, yeah, they're fine.
Sweet.
What?
Sweet.
Okay. So yeah, that you guys are all kind of back where you were. You do have the logs. What would you like to do now?
Besides wish I was still a cool raptor person.
Do we have the ability to turn those fields back on, and do I think I can land this safely? Because I still want to check out those caves. Because if the tachyons weren't down there, and they found a way to get food, they might still be alive.
You can attempt to turn the fields back on, and you do feel pretty confident that you can land. I should also be noted, none of you have any tachyon particles in.
Good.
Oh, good.
You can turn the fields back on, but you don't know when the next pulse could happen, so you're not sure how safe it will be.
Mm-hmm.
Just something to keep in mind. I'm not saying don't try and land. I'm saying you were counting on a timer, and that timer may or may not have been reset. You're not sure.
Right.
Charlie kind of wants to do something a little, and like as they're working on figuring out how we can land safely. Charlie wants to figure out a way we can configure. We've got like micro torpedoes on board the runabout, right?
Yes.
Not a runabout, it's a shuttle.
It's not a runabout, it's a shuttle,
It's a
but yeah.
shuttle. You're right. No, I guess I wouldn't have it.
No,
I was trying to think.
He said we do. Take it.
Well,
Run with it.
Well, I was trying to think of a way to literally blow up the subspace sandbar. Because this is clearly a trap for any other ships that might get trapped here. And if there's a way to, and I could be wrong, but if there was a way to knock it loose and set the time stream flowing normal again, it would probably blow up what remains of the Hera. Although, like I said, teeny tiny shuttle, probably teeny tiny torpedoes. But
or
you
we
could
just report that later and have people with like specialized gear deal with it.
You could roll, let's say, reason and security for me.
Oh no!
With subspace fields being a focus.
Oh no!
That's actually not a bad number. It's a difficulty of 2.
2.
So what you could do is get back down to the Hera and program one of their torpedoes or several of their torpedoes.
Ooh.
To do this, and then remote launch them from the shuttlecraft. Not like the shuttlecraft wouldn't launch them, but you would send the information down to the Hera from the shuttlecraft to launch them.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have to be on the planet. But you would definitely need to be able to quickly get out of the system. Because you don't know what that fix is going to look like.
No, but that's what Charlie's going to figure out how to do. And I'm telling you guys, I'm not keeping this a secret. It's like, I feel this is like it's a booby trap. It's going to kill more people in the future. I think it's the safest way. And we have to scuttle the Hera anyways.
Commander Ambara, opinions?
I am mostly just worried about you guys. So
what's the worst that could happen? We only turn into like cool cat and cool lizard people for only like an hour. I think we should be fine. Also, what's up? I kind of miss having the extra claws.
I also will not really feel satisfied with this mission if I don't confirm no survivors.
Okay.
So
Sorry,
well, either way, the plan still requires you to land on the planet, so
yes.
you could do both.
Yes. So
okay.
let's try for both.
Okay. Give me a control con, Pilata.
What's the difficulty?
It's difficulty of 1. Small craft applies.
That is 3 successes.
Fantastic. So you get 2 momentum, putting us up to 3. our illustrious hosts are suggesting that blowing up the Hera is there are no survivors.
I was actually thinking that earlier when you said I have to make sure there's no survivors, and it's like, well, okay, we'll blow up the ship, kill them all, got it.
Not that way.
You land much closer to the Hera this time. You don't have to walk nearly as far. It's far easier. On the way down, you scan and do find entries into some caves, not too far away from the Hera as well. Do you want to split up and send some of you to do the torpedoes and some of you to check out the caves?
Without working comm badges, I'm worried about that.
Ironically, Tox and Faproche have working comm badges.
Okay.
But
so...
that means they won't be shielded from the tachyon. If you're quick about it, shouldn't be a big deal, though.
Okay, so send one with one group and one with the other.
Okay, so tell me who's going where.
Well, I believe science and engineering are going to the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go to the caves.
We're going to send Faproche with you then to the caves? Okay.
Yep. And Garahar with them.
Yeah. So we'll start with the ship. The three of you get onto the ship. Make it to the forward armory that looks like it's not in the dirt. That you'll be able to will be able to fire without just like blowing itself up by shooting into the ground. Can I get on Bara to give me a control engineering roll?
Difficulty?
Difficulty's a 3. Charlie, you're gonna assist.
All right.
How much momentum do we have?
We have 3.
I am buying a third dice then.
Cool.
I got 2. So
do any of my foci
Not
apply?
really.
Okay.
No, not really. Yeah.
And you said it was it control and engineering?
That's correct.
Okay. Then in that case, I get 3.
So that's a 5.
Yeah.
So you guys get 2 momentum back. You spend some time reprogramming a half dozen torpedoes to kind of hit that area and emit a energy explosion that should close the subspace eddy or the tear. It's eddy's the first time I've used that word this game, and I'm not going to change what it is. And once that's closed, it should shut off the streams. Should. Who knows? But because of the way it will interact with subspace, it is going to cause a large explosion and likely destroy several of the planetoids. Maybe not this one, but at least the ones that are closest to that sandbar.
Kind of okay with that. I mean,
yeah, they're already dead.
Mm-hmm.
We might make an asteroid field, but
space asteroid. I guess asteroids are in space already.
Is there... Well, hang on a second. Because of the streams involved, is there any chance that any of the debris and asteroids that we make could get carried out to be super projectiles? Okay.
No, because it'll essentially shut it off as the explosion happens.
Okay, cool. Because I've seen The Expanse.
Yeah, no. Halata, you and Faproche head for the caves. Can I get you to give me a fitness security roll?
What's the difficulty?
Difficulty's 2. Survival will apply.
Okay. 3 successes.
Fantastic. That puts us at 5 momentum. I'm sorry, 6 momentum because Sean just bought one more. I guess he's still contributing even though he isn't here. I like that the doctor was our other player and couldn't make it tonight, and wow, would that have changed this story.
Oh, yeah.
You could have made Raptor Charlie permanent.
Right. So, yeah, that caps us at momentum. The two of you have to climb through a few things. It looks like the pulses have caused partial cave-ins, but you come down to what looks like it was a large cave that some shelter has been put up in, and just kind of what you find is a graveyard.
Yeah.
It looks like the people here just ran out of supplies, and unfortunately there wasn't much that could be done. 5 months with very little food for 225-ish people is really rough kind of situation. Looks like they did everything they could, but there's not much on this planet that could help them.
Just had to confirm it.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys all kind of get back to the shuttle right about the same time. Lift off. So you get back out into space, and I'm going to need one last roll from Halada, and it's going to be a daring and con. It's going to be a difficulty of 2. And then from either Anbara or Charlie, a reason and engineering. One of you will do it.
I'm gonna buy a die.
Do you want me to do it? Or did you want to?
You can do it.
Okay. And then what is the difficulty, Matt?
It's also a 2 for you.
Okay.
Hey, thank you, Sean, for doing your gift to Boys from the Baltic Star. We really appreciate you handing out some gift subscriptions.
I am also going to buy a 3rd die because we have the momentum and we might as well. It's the last roll of the night.
Fantastic.
So you said daring con, right?
I did.
I got 1 success.
Oh, no.
It would have been 2 if it was control.
Well, so hang on a second. What is the do any of my foci apply?
No.
Okay. But anyway, I have 3 successes.
And
Okay.
can the ship help?
Yeah, it's at a 10.
Okay. You want to roll for the ship, Charlie?
Yeah. Dude. Got it. With 1.
Yay!
That's enough. So as you're maneuvering your way as far to the edge of this as possible while still being within transmission range, you get to that point. Halada, you are kind of fighting against the currents of these streams. Charlie, or I'm sorry, Anbara, you transmit the code to launch.
Mm-hmm.
And the two of you kind of time it just right so that when you know that the torpedoes would explode, Halada, you hit warp, which you know is dangerous, but it's about the only way you're going to get out of here while still being close enough. The shuttle itself is shaken pretty bad. There are rocks that fall out of the ceiling, as all shuttles have, clearly. That's where you store all your extra rocks in Star Trek. Definitely some damage on the inside as consoles spark and explode, and you guys are kind of out in the dead of space with nothing really around you. You can still see off in the distance on sensors the planetoids, but the explosion in subspace causes all of them to disappear.
Oh boy.
Weird.
Charlie, would you like to make a insight science with subspace fields? Difficulty is a 2.
Two successes.
So you've seen the wormhole at Deep Space Nine probably a few dozen times. You were there on the way to the Gamma Quadrant. You've been back and forth a couple of times. The flash you see is very similar. There was probably a wormhole here that sent the Hera through to begin with, and then the Hera hit the streams. By detonating there, you reactivated the wormhole, and it seems that between the explosion and the energy from that, it pulled the planetoids through to wherever the Hera came from. Likely.
Okay. So is the Hera destroyed, or
It possibly, or it's just on the other side of the galaxy where the Hera disappeared from.
Did that open the wormhole temporarily, or is there now an open wormhole here?
No, it opened it temporarily. And when you scan the area for tachyons, that wormholes give off, there are none.
Okay.
It's likely that you collapsed the.
Okay.
probably for the best?
Yeah.
Big bada boom.
So Charlie, your theory, since you've been working on one this whole time, because that's how Charlie is. Your theory is that the Hera was brought over by a wormhole. That wormhole, at some point, was hit by some sort of weapon that caused a tear in space time that interacted with the wormhole, and that's what caused a lot of the streams. And now that you're seeing that there was a wormhole there, it makes a little more sense with how they were interacting, and that they were pulling the tachyons out of the wormhole and kind of depositing them through the area.
But what kind of weapon would do that?
Something advanced, something subspace, and like subspace weapons are banned, but also most like governments aren't stupid enough to use them because they're so damaging. Like the Romulans are like, we're evil, not doing subspace weapons though. So whoever did it, one, could have been a very long time ago, and this is just the aftermath. Or it could have been in the future, and this is still the aftermath.
Weird.
That was fun.
Interesting.
Okay, well, this is going to be one heck of a report to write up.
So the three of you get back. The reports are written up, and a couple of weeks later, there is a message from Admiral Giovanni, congratulating and offering a commendation to all 5 members of the crew of the shuttle for finding the Hera, and while its crew was unfortunately deceased, a final resting place in the Alpha or in the Beta Quadrant was found for it, and kind of puts a bookend on that chapter of the ship. All right, that's it. That's all I got tonight. So,
ship.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just so everyone's aware, somehow I ended up on animal TikTok last night. Did you know that there's an island where Komodo dragons live, and you can go there and check out the island, but Komodo dragons are like murderous, like alligator type creatures. They're huge.
Oh yeah, they're enormous.
And women who are on their period are not allowed to go there because they can smell blood 6 miles away and will go and attack it.
Oh God.
Yeah. So.
And I have this suicidal urge to pet all the creatures, so I just am never going there.
Yeah, no, you should definitely not. Like they are dangerous, and they're also the only lizard that is venomous.
Yeah.
And it's not like the bacteria like we originally thought. No, they actually have venom, which is terrifying.
They're
just really
critters.
cool.
Yeah.
So, that plus I rewatched the episode where the Hera Star Trek The Next Generation. And then I just watched a episode of Voyager, like the second one, where they get stuck in a weird time-space bubble eddy thing. So that's you're welcome. That all came into this. Watch more Star Trek. You'll get to tell better Star Trek stories.
Yay!
But can Charlie figure out how to turn himself into the lizard?
I mean, if he really wanted to.
I'm having a feeling that the saber teeth fangs were difficult to talk around. So, I do a lot of talking. Let's not do that.
Palada's just like, whisper no word.
Before we go, just a reminder, tomorrow night is By Leaps and Boundings. That's our 7th C game. That's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. On Thursday is Growing Shadows at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. On Sunday, we're back with Illuminated Page at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. We're finally in France. Things are getting weird and real. And then next Monday is the last episode of this season of the Voyages of. That's Syntactic Ambiguity. I definitely highly suggest coming out for that. There is a big deal at the end of that one. Halada will be back with me. But we will have Zeke and Keed will be joining us that night as we go back to Deep Space Nine for a diplomatic conference. So you guys have another week of this, and then we'll be taking a break for the second quarter, and we'll be back quarter 3 starting in July for the next season of the Voyages of.
Nice.
Don't forget, we have a Discord. You should check that out if you want to click on the link. Just go over there. It's good. It's a good group of people. We talk about fun stuff. It's also a great way if you wanted to get on our shows like the Let's Play, where we do one shots. You check that out. Check those out there. We are there always kind of looking for cast members, and it's always a chance to play with people you don't know and have some fun. I got to play Big Eye Smallmouth 4th Edition on Saturday, and I played Hans Frankenbot, a battle pet master with robot battle pets. It was fantastic.
Fun explaining isekais to you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So much isekai stuff. But I had a lot of fun with that. It was a fun game. John ran a very punny game, so John, go check out John Thompson's storytelling. You're gonna love it. But definitely check out the Discord. We also are on Facebook and Twitter. Don't forget to check those out. And then all of our shows go up on YouTube. If you haven't seen them over there, everything's there. So if you haven't seen Leaps and Bounties, it's all over there. You catch up if you watch a lot between now and tomorrow. But you got plenty of time to catch up on that, and then catch up on the rest of Season 1 of The Voyages of before we come back for Season 2 in July.
You can figure out why Anvara and I hate Preserver Tech.
I think everybody hates Preserver Tech at this point. I don't think anybody likes it. My character is supposed to like Preserver Tech. Touch it, someone almost dies. So,
in a very creative way, too. Where you're just like...
So come back to hang out tomorrow with Pirates, and otherwise we will see you guys next week. Bye.
See ya.